Hello and welcome back to my fashion corner. I know we are again in a different place, but today I just wanted to talk about a couple of things so that there will be no visuals, no whiteboarding, although I'm not gonna lie. The topic of today's video could actually use a whiteboard. I just wanted to sit down and talk about a couple of things because normally I make a short when someone is leaving a certain fashion brand or a designer decides to go elsewhere, etc. But recently, it's been happening quite a lot. I don't know what the cause of that is. I could speculate and say this is probably the crisis that the entire world is in, catching up with the fashion world, which is highly frivolous, you could say, unnecessary. It's not life essential to own luxury items, and even very rich people are probably looking at their investments. And I think just the brands, because they have been suffering, they haven't been seeing annual growth on the scale they would like to. I think this is just catching up with those brands. So today I'd like to talk about those musical chairs that fashion world is playing with us currently, and who is where, who went where. I started this, or I think, with whenever Sarah Burton announced that she's going to be leaving Alexander McQueen, because obviously it's a brand very close to my heart. And now that Sean McGirr is at the helm, and we're going to talk about them as well, I am absolutely ecstatic. I love his designs. I love that it's Sean McGirr for McQueen, I think. That's how they are naming it. And I think, and it breaks my heart, it absolutely kills me when I open Instagram and I browse their photos from very recent runways, etc. And the comments that you see there are just absolutely, I still get amazed at how horrible people can be. It's essentially the theme of like, oh, this is not Alexander McQueen. Well, he's not. There was one of them, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. I think Sean is doing an amazing job. So if you only want to be loyal to the brand, to the tag, what are you even loyal to? Like, naturally, Lee McQueen passed away. He's no longer going to be able to execute his vision, and every leaving designer has to every new coming designer has to sort of fill the previous designer's shoes, which is a massive pressure. But they also are there as individuals and put their own quote unquote spin on this. It really breaks my heart to see those comments. And then, oh, spoiler alert, as I'm talking right now, it's probably going to be a lot of rambling and lots of side tangents and lots of backstories to backstories, so hopefully you'll forgive me. Ultimately, if you'd like to put me away and just listen to this, you're more than welcome to. As I said, no visuals today, just me yapping. And if you're new here, welcome. If you're old here, that sounds horrible. If you're a recurring visitor, if you're regular here, welcome back. It's my absolute pleasure to have you, and let's get to it. Before we do that, actually, let me just address one thing. I am quite excited to make this video because it's essentially just me talking about things I'm passionate about, and I started this channel because I wanted to talk about all those contingencies, about history of fashion, which designer goes where, etc. And then we started finding my way through it, so we're still on shaky grounds. We still haven't found the LKT's identity, but now we're going back to something that I'm very passionate about, and it's the musical chairs of the fashion world. First of all, if you're a fan of brand Pauline, they got acquired by LVMH, so expect them to come up with their own monogram, expect them to go downhill with quality, expect the prices go uphill. And a holy price tag. It's LVMH, mate. Like, that's what they do with all the brands, I feel. Anyway, so yeah, Pauline got acquired by the conglomerate. And I cannot see people being happy about it, because even recently Pauline was going downhill with the quality, and I think there was some changes that they had to make in preparation for the merger and acquisition. So I feel it's I wouldn't say that getting acquired by LVMH is good news. Anyway, good for them. Obviously, it's a massive business success. So. Starting with Tom Ford. So I'm a massive fan of Tom Ford. I think he's a fabulous designer. Although him as a personality, it's a hit and miss. But Haider Ackermann. I've mentioned Haider in my video about Only Murders in the Buildings fashion. There was one coat, I believe, by him. Haider joined Tom Ford. That's extremely exciting. He is really good with shapes, with silhouettes, with oversized, but also tightly fitting. Tom Ford is very, sleek, sexy, but high fashion, very, very well put together person, but lots of satin, lots of nuance, lots of innuendos, etc. So I am extremely excited to see how Haider is going to play with this. Chloe, very popular brand. It's not my favorite. I am not really a Chloe person, but I know it's massively popular, and I probably don't have to tell you this. I think it's been governed recently by Gabriella Hearst, who has her own eponymous brand, and I think she left. Provided that she was at the helm, she left because now Kimana Kamali, I'd say, has joined Chloe. So it's a brand for. I don't think Chloe has men's fashion. I would see this is showing you how uneducated I am when it comes to Chloe. But I think this is a good thing. We need more women at the helm of brands. So I'm all here for it. Another brand that is in this musical chair selection is Dries Van Noten. I think they're empty seated at the helm. I don't think they have announced who's going to be leading them, but I love Dries. It's really, really incredibly cool stuff. I could never pull it off, I don't think. They know how to make just edgy, cool stuff. So if you haven't heard about Dries Van Noten before this, please do go browse their website, check them out. They do amazing runway shows, and I am really excited to see who's going to sit at the helm. And maybe one of those people that we're going to be talking about, leaving, coming, etc., will be sitting at the helm soon. Now the bigger brand moves. I don't know if you can see it because I can't see myself, but I'm consulting my notes that I scribbled very quickly. Big brands moves. I'm going to start with my least favorite. No, actually, no. Let's start with Gucci. So Gucci has been... So at the helm of Gucci, there was a person, Alessandro Michele. I don't know why I'm saying that like a legend has it. No, Alessandro's a very real person, a very real designer. And during his realm, it was never my thing. I feel like he's very 70s, very bohemian, very chic, free-spirited. He's got this, I think, idea about like patterns and flares and necklaces and just really, open shirts, etc. He was dressing Harry Styles for a very long time, and that's just not my thing. So I wasn't really vibing with Gucci. Now, well, some time ago, he left Gucci and is now replaced by Sabato De Sarno, who, and this is quite interesting. So Sabato comes over from Valentino. Alessandro left to sit at Valentino's head designer's chair because, and this was one of my shorts, it was a massive heartbreak. Pierpaolo left Valentino. Again, broke my heart because I was such a fan. I think they did an amazing job. The entire pink era of Valentino was just absolutely stunning. I'm really beating myself up for not getting anything from that era. I did manage to get my black pumps with the rock stud that are sort of fitting my dino bag, but also are my reminder, Pierpaolo at Valentino. Those runways, those clothes, incredible. I'm gonna be heartbroken about that for a while. So now we have Alessandro sitting there. Alessandro, who is already bringing a lot of, again, this is what I was talking about in the beginning, lots of his vision, lots of his personality, lots of his persona into Valentino, which is not necessarily my thing, but I would never fault him for doing that because that makes absolute sense. And this way you get eras or like periods, but you get, Tom Ford at Gucci, then you have Alessandro at Gucci, now you have Sabato at Gucci. So it's many different people designing for one brand and you get different things and it makes it exciting. I feel like we could call this evolution, but I see people not calling it evolution and rather deciding on calling people names. But hey, I hear we live in a society. So we've got, so Alessandro left Gucci, went over to Valentino, where Pierpaolo left. Pierpaolo has not announced whether he's joining any other brand. At least I don't know this. I do have to apologize to Pierpaolo personally because I know he's watching, obviously. I'm not stalking him, so I have no idea what he's all about. I hope that he's enjoying some well-deserved time off with his family. But we'll see where he ends up, if he ends up anywhere. Or maybe he'll start his new own brand, right? Why not? And what's also interesting with this move is that Sabato used to work at Valentino for like under Pierpaolo. Now, Sabato's style is a lot more interesting to me, although he's playing with lots of the things that I have mentioned that I dislike about Alessandro: patterns, bold colors, overstating, either features or accessories, etc. I relate much more with Sabato De Sarno's work, and one of his first, I think the first runway that he created was beautiful. I don't know whether I set off making the video. I believe I did, but I've been really busy at work and I got into a little bit of a creative, I don't want to call it a slum. It was just that you log off work after a long day and the last thing I want to do is then listen to my voice, just not being able to follow a singular thought. Hobbies, an up and down journey. It's not a steady exponential growth. So back to Alexander McQueen. So governed currently by Sean McGirr, who is absolutely brilliant. He replaced Sarah Burton, who was at Alexander McQueen with Lee Alexander McQueen from the very beginning, I believe, and she was very much him. I feel like they were of one vision, of one superstition, beliefs, etc. So that was working very well for her, just following and building up on his initial vision. And then Sarah left and is now a Givenchy. She replaced Matthew Williams. I love Givenchy, but I'm just not on board with the recent everything needs a monogram theme. And Givenchy, whenever they got on that trend, they created their own monogram. I don't know what was going on. I wasn't really messed with. They did it better than Balmain, but Givenchy was a traditionally seamstress tailor brand. It was immaculately cut. It was so well designed. Hubert Givenchy, was it Hubert? My grandfather's name was Hubert. He had just an immaculate vision on how to tailor his own brand and his clothes, and it just worked so well. So I'm going to be saying this about a lot of brands, just saying like I wasn't vibing with them for the past couple of years, but Givenchy certainly deserves a new stream of creativity, fresh air, and I think Sarah is the perfect fit because she is a seamstress. She's a well of experience, knowledge, and she still has lots of vision in herself. And I think Givenchy is going to be able to give her the resources and the power of the house, to take it further. Not just Givenchy, but even her own creativity. Because Alexander McQueen, although it's a massive brand, it's not massive if you compare it, even if you compare it to Gucci, Prada, etc. Right? Did I digress or is it still on topic? I don't know. Let me know. And be nice to Sean McGirr on Instagram. Like, come on, he's my people. Like, we cannot treat him like this. Sean McGirr came over from JW Anderson. JW Anderson is a brand started by Jonathan Anderson, who's from Northern Ireland. If you didn't know this, this is your fun fact of the day. Jonathan Anderson is now such a massive name. Not only he's got his now own, he's not now own brand. He's had the brand for a long time, but he's probably now just spearheading the brand. He's got a couple of designers working for him. He's probably the sign-off person, but he also sits at the helm of Loewe. And Loewe was on a steady incline, like a very sustainable, very steady growth. And then last year or year before, they just boomed. I think it started with all those collaborations with Studio Ghibli, for example, and targeting, us aging millennials and lots of anime collaborations because JW Anderson, similarly to Sean McGirr, very much into Asian culture. They worked in Asia. They were very inspired by that. So I think that was close to their hearts. But back to Jonathan Anderson and Loewe. Ever since that, there was such a massive spike. The puzzle bag was probably the catalyst of it. And I've got lots of that, but even the clothes it's ridiculous how successful Loewe is. And I keep reading about Jonathan Anderson and how much money he is making to Loewe. Then he's got his own brand, which is still very popular. If you don't know J.W. Anderson from the top of your head, could be, if you remember a couple of years ago, there were these slippers with a massive chain link on top of it, even on bags, etc. That was J.W. Anderson. It was controversial back then. I loved it, obviously. Good for him, good for them, good for the growth. Yeah, he's just such a massive name right now. I don't know whether anyone is talked about like Jonathan Anderson is. I think it could be Sarah Burton because of the moves though, but he certainly trumps all these people. Moving right along, we've got, my notes say, he's so hot right now, because I was being funny, I guess. Anyway, from Alexander McQueen, Sarah Burton went to Givenchy, replacing Matthew Williams, and we've got Sean McGurr for McQueen. This is what really made this whole video happen. Yesterday, or the day before, I read that Kim Jones is going to be leaving Fendi. He is currently designing for Fendi Men. So he's taking care of the menswear. And he's been there for a very long time. I think he had a fantastic relationship with Silvia Venturini Fendi and her daughter, Delfina. So it worked very well. I love Fendi Men. I've got a couple of videos about it. And by couple, I mean, I think one. I love Fendi Men. So fun, so beautiful, so sleek. It's scratching all those itches that I've got, the desire for nude, toned down, powder colors, and then bold colors, clothes that is just really oversized and statementy and streetwear. And then you've got sleek, beautifully cut suits, shirts, etc. And it's really fun accessories. They did some amazing work, even in bags department. I loved Kim Jones at Fendi, and I loved Kim Jones and Fendi a lot more than I like Kim Jones Dior Men, because that's the other half of his role, or was, I should say, the other half of his role. That was Dior Men. Fun fact number 2, Dior has recently signed Lewis Hamilton as an ambassador, and I think they have now signed him as some sort of creative advisor, some creative position. And I don't know whether he's that friendly with Maria Grazia Curie, but I think he's very close to Kim Jones. Certainly wears a lot of his clothes, whether that's Dior or Fendi. Actually, first, let me talk about Maria Grazia Curie. Hang on, I still need to talk about Fendi. See, this is what happens when I talk. So Fendi, we've got Silvia Venturini Fendi and her daughter Delfina. I think she's the head of accessories. I'm not certain about this, but she's done shoes, they've created perfumes together, beautiful by the way, and she's certainly designed lots of the accessories that I've seen, so she might as well be at the helm of that role. But we've got Silvia, her daughter Delfina, and we had Kim Jones. Now Kim Jones left and that spot is open. Because it's such recent news, I haven't really been able to see whether he's going to be replaced and by whom. I'm certainly not worried. It's not like I have been buying in bulk from Fendi Men's, but I liked it, and it's a change, and we'll see how it goes. So we've got Fendi and now Dior. We've got Maria Grazia Curie, who is the head designer and also designing Dior Women. Someone's very loud in the hallway, and if it's disturbing the flow and video, I apologize. It totally distracted me, so I'm just going to wait. Someone's big unhappy. Back to Dior. So we've got Maria Grazia Curie at the helm of the brand and also women's wear. We've got Kim Jones taking care of men. This is not going to be a surprise to you if you've ever heard me talk about Dior. I do not like Maria Grazia Curie. I do not like her work. I am on the fence of, I'm literally 50-50 on, I don't know whether I want to say promoting, exploiting, or appropriating cultures. She goes to different places and brings the local culture, the local craftsmanship and local arts in some sort of fashion making, uses it for Dior. Now, I cannot talk about whether those terms of agreements were ever fair, or whether she's doing this to elevate that culture and bring awareness, or whether she's just doing this for the capitalism of it all, which is my guess. Which is why this is making me so on the verge. But also, this is probably not my place to judge, and I'm probably not going to fix anything. So I don't like her. that's the bottom line. And I have been not wishing, but I will not be sad to hear the news about her departure, whether she decides to go somewhere else or not. I'm just not vibing with Dior, and I think it has been quite commented on how not really great it's been for the past couple of years. And every year is something new, is something different. And I think that people have a really hard time finding themselves in it. Yeah. And then the other thing that I really dislike about Dior, and that actually made me sell one of the shoes, is that you almost cannot buy an item from Christian Dior without it saying Christian Dior in massive letterhead. And I thought it was just this separate time, or like a point in time, every Lady Dior that has been created in the past couple of years, unless it's just a solid color, all those beautiful canvases, all those beautiful patterns, says Christian Dior, and then you've got it on shoes and you've got it on clothes, and it's just, well, what if I just don't want to do that? What if I want something that is a bit more toned down? And I'm obviously, everyone is entitled to their own style and liking, but it's just not me. Oh, and I forgot about the massive scandal recently surfaced that Christian Dior is having their super famous and super popular book totes done for about 50 quid, and then they're reselling them for about 3,000. I think that deep inside we all know this, that the cost of making it is just, it's not that massive. Then you've got the brand that is the markup, and that margin that has to pay for the marketing and for all the operations around it. What was really, really a massive nail in the coffin of Dior was that it was really exploiting human rights and human labor and other things. It was unfair wages, really horrible working conditions, etc. So it didn't really surprise me that was happening. Again, LVMH. But also, this is going to be really difficult to pull up back up from. I think I digressed there, so apologies. Let's go back to it. So we've got Dior, got Kim Jones staying at Men's, and Maria Grazia Curie, who is the head designer and hopeful for a change. So Fenty, Men's, who does that? A couple of free agents that are floating around, but I just don't know. I am really interested to see who is going to be chosen by Silvia Venturini Fendi. Louis Vuitton is headed by Nicolas Ghesquière. It's been for years, and he is just, similarly to Maria Grazia Curie, I do not like him, and I don't want to be like trash talking him because I don't know him as a person, but the fashion's abhorrent for the past couple of years. It's not a very recent thing, but it's been consistently horrible in my personal opinion for years now. And Louis Vuitton Men's is directed by Pharrell Williams, which I think is massively popular because, you know, he is of our, quote unquote, our generation cultural icon. Not icon, but he's certainly a stellar point of our culture. You've got representation of minority, which is fabulous. He is also designing a lot of the pieces by himself, like for himself, sort of. So it's a lot of streetwear, a lot of pride in his history and culture, and I love to see it, and I think it's been massively popular. You've got lots of millennial sports people and actors and singers wearing his thing, so I think he's going to stay there for a while. But good lord, do I hope that Ghesquière leaves, because he does not like, listen, it could be good for person who replaces Ghesquière, but it would be incredible for Louis Vuitton if they get someone else there, because it's been going downhill for years now and it's not getting any better. And I think Louis Vuitton is really struggling to even get celebrities to wear their clothes. Don't think that I have been seeing many famous people. I'm going to say famous people, like people that you see on social media, like photographing clothes on red carpets, etc. I don't think I've been seeing many popular people, prominent people, no, famous people, let's say famous, wearing his clothes unless they are ambassadors. And before you say it, yes, Zendaya wears his clothes, but she's an ambassador. And it's been said that he's been massively unhappy about her wearing other things, but look, you deserve that, Ghesquière. You didn't want to sign her in the first place, so this is what you get. Another massive brand that is currently really, really discussed is Chanel. After Karl Lagerfeld's passing, Virginie Viard has been at the helm for years now, and it's, again, been a downhill ride. Chanel has been struggling with quality issues. This is, yes, anecdotal coming from me, but I haven't heard one person talking highly about Chanel handbags quality recently. They all say, oh, if you compare it to 10, 20 years ago, the quality is completely different and the prices are abhorrent. As you know, Chanel raises their prices once, if not twice a year. And I think it's coming back to haunt them, I think. And the clothes, I don't think Virginie has a good, certainly, I don't like it. And this is really, I know this is the top 3 brands that people like to talk about, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and Dior. I don't like either of them, okay? Saving me a lot of money, but also I would like to see those houses not make more money, but make better clothes and accessories. So Virginie left. Who's in? I made a little short about who can replace her. So it's not Sarah because she's going to Givenchy. It could be Heidi Slimane who left Celine. It could be Phoebe Philo who has her own eponymous brand, but she would be very good for Chanel, I think. Phoebe has an amazing sense for women's wear, and I think Chanel could use that. Could be Galliano. John Galliano, whose career should have been over the moment that he got convicted, 8 years ago for those racist comments, but here we are, and he's very recently designed and directed a Maison Margiela runway show that was massively popular. It was the Porcelain Dolls, if you remember. So I guess we're gonna have to suffer Galliano around, but similarly to Domenica Dolce and Stefano Gabbana, they could all just hold hands and traipse into the sunset. We've got speculations coming in, right? So what if Jesquier gets sacked? What if Virginie gets sacked? What if Kim Jones gets hired by Chanel? Because that would be massive for Chanel. He would do things for them, honestly. I saw speculations that Marc Jacobs is joining Chanel, and if this is true, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to think about that. There were also speculations about Daniel Roseberry, who is, if you remember, at the helm of Schiaparelli, that he could be joining Chanel. I don't know if Chanel would survive that. I think they're struggling in the clothes department. I don't think they're struggling necessarily in the bags department. They're struggling because they produce low quality handbags for incredibly holy price tags. But the clothes is the problem, it's not the bags. So that whole part is really interesting. I am waiting certainly impatiently for the announcement, but not because I want to just go and support that person. It's just because I'm really, really interested in the development of the house. Now, I do need change from Jesquier and Louis Vuitton. I do need Maria Grazia Curie to leave Dior, but that's just what I want. So those changes need to happen pronto. I think what's also interesting is that I think Burberry has been having an existential crisis. And there were 3 years where Burberry was really on top of their game, and now they're back into existential crisis. So I really want to see what that goes. What's massively underappreciated, both Stella McCartney and Victoria Beckham. I think we're going to talk about Stella McCartney in a separate video, but if you're looking into brands that are maybe not on everyone's radar, have a look. So we've got that cover. Now, again, I see massive success in Givenchy's future. And I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with Kim Jones. Well, now that I think about it, could it be that Kim Jones is going to get, hear me out, Maria Grazia Curie gets sacked. Kim Jones gets Dior head of creative directorship. Lewis Hamilton gets a creative designer at Dior Men. And Kim Jones is just going to be overseeing everything. I'm liking this conspiracy. I wonder whether this is realistic or not. I think this concludes my October conspiracy theories about the fashion musical chairs. I'm sure I haven't covered all the moves and who went where, etc. These were just some of the major fashion brands, major fashion houses, and some of the smaller ones that are sort of on my radar. I think when it comes to fashion, I don't know. I feel like everyone, this is my personal opinion, I think many houses are now trying to reinvent themselves. We've been through a lot together, as a society, as this planet Earth. Now that we are in a really bad place, economically, politically, things are happening and people are sort of reevaluating what is really important. And because aging millennials like myself think we're the biggest target market, I'm speculating. People like me are really just trying to get stuff that they liked, and now everyone's unhappy, and we're like, okay, well, can I at least get me some good fashions that will not cost me another mortgage? I don't know. So this exactly is why I didn't make a short, because you cannot fit a tangent, a ramble into a short. And I just wanted to talk about it because this is so on my mind that it's borderline embarrassing. And I just needed you to know so that we can all be in this together. And then when the next wave of changes happens, we can again sit down and talk about what had happened and what the heck is going on. If you have thoughts and if you're inclined to share, there's a comment section down below. I don't know why I'm saying that like this is your first day on YouTube, but if you want to chat, I'm happy to chat. If you have further questions, feel free to ask. I'm happy to elaborate. In the meantime, I am hopeful to finish editing that video that I've been stuck on for the past couple of months. And I'm sort of in the mindset of you have to finish this before you make anything new. But at this point, I hate the video so much. And I should have just listened to my instinct and I should have re-recorded the whole script. But I didn't, and now I have to pay for my choices, you know? We all make them. We made it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making it to the very end. I hope to see you next time, and I hope you're having a fabulous day. Bye!